Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. It's Manchester United against Newcastle preview time and it's big changes for Ruben Amorim surely. Let's get into it because smash a like on the video if you think Binder should be in goal and ONANA should be out because obviously it's an open goal. We're probably going to lose this game, by the way. Very early prediction. I very rarely predict a Man United loss, but in the circumstances, I don't really care. In the circumstances, Newcastle are better than us, and in the circumstances, we need to rotate. So I can't sit here and go, well, Manchester United, we should be going to Newcastle and getting a result. Now, we'll leave that to the ex-players after the game when they sensationalise a loss for Man United in a game where really we should be losing. Our season rests on Lyon. Our season rests on the Europa League, and we need to be in a situation where we can rest as many players as possible. Now, it's very hard to predict how he's going to do that, but let's not forget, Newcastle are probably going to get in the top 5. They're desperate to get in the top 5. They've won their last 3 Premier League games in a row. They're very, very good at St James's Park, and we obviously are not great away from home. We're 14th in the league with our away record, whereas Newcastle are the 7th best club at home. So it's going to be very, very difficult. Also, they've had a week off. They're going to be revved up for this. They're going to be motivated for this. Whereas for Man United, it's difficult. It's difficult to play Thursday night in Europe and then be playing on a Sunday afternoon. The turnaround is very difficult anyway. And obviously, I think maybe Amorim is going to go a little bit over the top with how he goes. I mean, interestingly, I didn't realise. I thought Lyon were going to play today on Saturday. They're playing tomorrow night away against Auxerre at 7:45, and they're fighting for top 5 as well. So they've not been massively helped out by the French league. That's quite, that might be something that goes in our favour as well. But look, focusing on the team that Amorim's going to pick, obviously in goal, it's an open goal when ONANA plays. I'm joking. When it's an open goal, when a goalkeeper's had a horrific game, to use the backup goalkeeper in a game that doesn't massively matter to see if he's going to be the first choice goalkeeper in a massive game against Lyon. So Binder in goal is just so logical. Rotation, pressure on ONANA, decision to make for Thursday. Binder has to be in goal. The defence becomes a little bit more interesting because who do you rest? There's not a lot of options there. I don't think Heaven's back. You've obviously got Kokonki, but would you make him play against Newcastle? I don't know. Lindelof can come in. Look, I'm trying to predict his team here. He's got to try and rest as many players as he can, but he's also spoken about the importance of the game. Now, the importance of the game is minimal, really. We're going to finish in the bottom half of the table. We're not going to get anywhere near Europe or anywhere near the top half. But this whole stupid £3 million you lose or gain by moving up and down the league, because that's what you get from the Premier League. Every place is worth £3 million. £3 million to Sir Jim Radcliffe is like £100 million to any other club. So he's going to be there going, yeah, Ruben, at the end of the day, Ruben, it's £3 million, It could be the difference between, sacking another 300 people. So I think we will be looking at the league table, as incredible as it sounds, even though it shouldn't be looked at. The rewards from winning the Champions League will swamp anything we're going to get from £3 million. And these players need a rest. They need to be motivated and ready for... And also, there's the injury risk. It's not only rest. What if somebody gets injured? It can happen. So I think we've got to be very, very careful about that. So he's got to try and rotate. But in the defensive positions, what would you do? What would you do? I think he's probably going to pick 2 out of Mazraoui and Maguire and Yoro. So I've took Yoro out for Lindelof, but it could be Maguire. He's been coming off. Maybe he rests Maguire and plays Yoro and Mazraoui. I don't think De Ligt's back for this game either. So, yeah, I think Delo will play because he always plays. Amas I've put at left back because I think Dorgu needs a rest. He's 20. He needs a rest. And I don't know whether Luke Shaw's ready to start. So it could be Luke Shaw, but Amas has been on the bench a lot. Maybe you start Amas and you bring Shaw on second half. Midfield, Bruno will play because Bruno always plays. You could start Mainu and rest Agate and Casemiro, But I think for the home game, we won't play Ugarte and Casemiro, so you can actually afford to rest one and start the other. And I think the way things are at the moment, he might start Casemiro over Ugarte, and Casemiro's the older player, so Ugarte starts with Bruno. Into the front three, Eriksen has to play in some way, shape or form. We're paying him 150 grand a week, and this is what rotation is. Would I be starting Eriksen normally against Newcastle away? No. But he's an experienced player on 150 grand a week who allows another player to get a rest. So Eriksen's got to play. Mason Mount needs to play because he's not ready to play 90 minutes anyway. So getting minutes into his leg and then maybe legs and then subbing him off after 60 minutes in preparation for next Thursday, it's just the progression and it's rotation. And then Rasmus up front because I think Xerxes will start against Lyon. So that sort of rests Garnacho, it rests Xerxes, it rests Dorgu, it rests Casemiro, it rests one of the centre-backs. So, look, I'd want more, but that team does rest 5 players for Thursday, which ain't a bad start. So that's pretty much okay. And also that team's not horrific. I think some people think rotation, we're going to play the youth team. We can still rotate, rest half the team and put some good players out like Eriksen, Mount. You could rest. The funny thing with that team is you could rest Bruno and play Mainu next to Ugarte. There's not a lot you can do with Delo, like you're going to have to play him, but we can rest some players, and we have to. I'll be absolutely fuming if I see people like Garnacho, Xerxes, Casemiro, Dorgu, all of those players, because there is an opportunity to rotate, and I think that's the really important thing. Score prediction, I don't think we'll win. And the funny thing is, this is why I'd rotate as well, because if you rotate and you get beat, in the back of everybody's head, we've rotated for a bigger game on Thursday. If you go strong and you get beat, it'll be, why didn't you rotate and you lost again? We're going to lose this game. I think it's absolutely easy for Amrim to rest, lose, and go, well, I had to rotate. But if he goes strong and loses, people will go, why didn't you rotate? And as I just said. So I think we're going to lose this game whatever we do. Go strong, we lose. Rotate, we lose. So we're going to lose this game in my head anyway. If we can get a draw, I can't see how we win. Newcastle are going to be full pelt. An amazing atmosphere. They need it as well. But if we can keep it down, to like 1 or 2-0, I know that sounds terrible, but it's what we are at the moment, and focus on Thursday, I think I'd take that. And that sort of a team and a 1 or 2-0 loss, that'll do as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, quick preview to get it out there. Let me know your thoughts. Smash a like and subscribe. I think there's a lot of conversation to be had in the chat about what you think about the team and what we should do. Any disagreements, let me know. Back at 8 o'clock live. Speak to you all in a bit. Take care.